So now I'm going to do a part out of Retaliate. It's one of our older songs. We already did a recording of that last year sometime. And this one's much better, but the song hasn't changed at all. It goes something like this. The fact that I use a couple of 6 patterns, the hardest one in there is actually the following. And you start with a downstroke, and that's why it's actually hard. It's not very hard to do it on an upstroke. Is really easy, but this song has to do it on a downstroke, so that's kind of a bad thing. It's actually a really good exercise if you want to practice that. And the way I wrote this is actually, I like this, I just wanted to do a little pattern, and then kind of like what Symphony X does in a lot of songs, where they take a pattern and they just switch it all around to a bunch of different keys, and then they don't even change the fingering. Everything's exactly the same, so they actually just change key constantly. So that's it makes it sound a lot more dynamic, and it sounds very interesting, even though you keep getting that same tonality, because the intervals don't change at all. So basically I just came up with this little riff, and I was like, yeah, maybe we can find a nice chord progression. So eventually I came up with that chord progression. That's exactly the chord progression that I play. So if you look at it slowly, I play, and then I go, so, and then the last one I kept short so I can get to the ending. Yeah. So it's basically very simple. So let's go through that shortly. Again, it's basically that's basically the pattern. It's just pull-offs. I never strike the down note. I always just do a pull-off. And then you get pick every note. You can also do it. I used to do that, but it just didn't sound very good, so now I'm trying to do this every time, but I miss them a lot, so it's sort of a risk you can take. Once you get good enough, it actually works out. And then that's the good part. You just move this up, same thing. Here you only play the first two pull-offs, and then you go there, and you and that's basically that entire riff. So and then we go to the solo. Solo goes like this. And I never play the ending the same way. I start the same way and then I finish up with the same note, but I never do anything the same in between. So that's the beauty of the solo. You never play it wrong because you never play it right. So basically it starts with a rake. It's a nice technique to get some punch behind the first note. Another rake with a half bend. And then another rake with a half bend. And then there's the bunch of notes I do there. Groups of 3, and that's basically so there you have it. And then there's a bend up on the 11th fret of the B string, and I tap it on the 23rd fret, so you get a 12th harmonic basically from the note you're playing. So you can just touch the string very lightly. And if you do that quickly enough, it sounds like you're actually playing that note. You can come up with all sorts of weird stuff like that, and it really sounds great. So from that note, you just keep speeding that up. You start with a half bend, and then you just play. And as soon as you get to a point where you can't play it any faster, you just switch to the regular ones. And then I just play somewhere after that I play. And then it comes out sort of like... And you can play it nasty, that's the way it goes. It sounds better that way. So.